Okay, I'm Alan Garland with Predator Obedience School, and I ordered a no-shock video camera mount for Picatinny rail from Alex Wiggs with no shock. And like most of y'all, I've got box after box after box of scope mounts made for video cameras. There's no way of getting around your camera getting blurry when you fire a zoomable autofocus camera on a hard mount. It tears the camera up inside. It's not made for shock. POV cameras are fine. Personal cameras are fine as far as your GoPros, but there's no zoom. This is the mount itself. This is the Picatinny rail mount. As you'll see in a minute on my bolt gun, I think these were originally designed for an AR-15, but on my bolt gun, I've got a Picatinny rail scope mount, full length above the receiver. And this is simple. I didn't even have to take my scope off. I took the end cap off, I slid it in there, I put the end cap back on, I fit it, and I tightened up the screw on the end. I didn't even have to take my scope off. Most of them tighten up from the top, and they're kind of a pain. This one was really simple. The way it mounts is it mounts, and when the rifle fires, it has a shock to it that moves your camera back and forth, and it's got springs in this frame right here that absorb the shock from your camera when the gun fires. And I used it this morning on a coyote hunt. The zoom was too big. We had the zoom too high. It's not an extremely good video, but it does show you that the camera can handle the shock. The same camera I had this morning, I've used before on a hard mount, and it just goes blurry when you fire. So if you don't have one of these, I'd recommend getting one if you like to mount your video camera, your zoomable video camera on your rifle. He did a real nice job on it. It's parkerized. It's a great mount, and I'm going to show it to you on the rifle now. Okay, this is the mount on the rifle itself. This is a Remington 243 with a Picatinny base for the scope. It mounted really easy. You can see how it slid under the scope and mounted. I didn't have to take the scope off. Then all you have to do is put the screw with the clamp on the other side. It's mounted under a Vortex, which sets pretty low. It's on low rings. But the camera itself is really neat. When the rifle fires, it reacts to take the shock out of the camera. There's not a lot of shock on this rifle because of the suppressor, but there's still enough shock that it would affect it, because it has before when I've mounted other mounts on there. He did a really nice job. Put rubber grommets in where the screws go to absorb vibration. The only downside that I can see at this point, there's not any way of getting around it, because you can mount larger cameras if you have to, or it sticks out so far. It's not extremely far, but it's a little bit. But that does give you room to put a POV camera on the end and video yourself if you'd like. You can cut that off. You can cut that off to any length you want it. Some cameras have the camera screw in the middle, some on the end. I've got another one that he sent me that is moved out a little farther because my camera hits my focus knob, and this camera's not so bad. The other one, it hits my focus knob because of where the screw is underneath. But I'm going to recommend it. It's a good piece of equipment, especially if you like to video your own hunts and your solo, because anytime you go to a tripod, there's a chance you're going to miss your shot. I posted a video on Predator Obedience School called Jackson's Still Learning. My son's in the video, and it's the first time I've used the mount. If you want to see it in action, you can watch it. If you have any questions, contact me on Predator Obedience School or my personal page, Alan Garland. Thank you.